Hello, everyone, and good evening. If you are just finishing up watching the Astro Awards, I just got home and I figured I might as well go live with you guys to talk about this and mute myself. We'll see. We'll wait to get a few people on, but I wanted to show you guys some of the interviews that I got while I was at the Astro Awards and just kind of recap. Luckily, I live 10 minutes away. And so I did not have as far to travel to get home as many of the people that came from all around the United States, around the world. You may be wondering, why am I wearing a jacket? I am so cold from just even walking to my car in the parking garage. It is very cold here in Austin, surprisingly cold. I think we had a high of like 28 when I was outside. So anyway, I'm still trying to warm up. I know I'm a wimp. I lived in South Dakota for 2 years and thought that I could maybe wear a skirt, and that was a bad idea. So anyway, lessons learned. But this is the cool Astro Award orbital access pass that I had to do the event. Someone wants to know, am I going to the Industry East? I am not going to the after party, partially because I'm moving tomorrow. So I'm actually moving to a completely new studio once I set it up. I'm moving to a bigger location, so still staying here in Austin, but I have done enough socializing and schmoozing, and I probably shouldn't be doing this live stream, but basically I'm going to edit my video and release it tomorrow. It's not a great time to release a video, but I have the interviews preloaded. So if you guys want to hear from Scott Manley, hear from obviously Everyday Astronaut Tim Dodd, and then Answers with Joe Scott, hang out with me. But yeah, so here's a pass. Thank you to one of my patrons who surprised me with the Orbital Access Pass. So this gave us VIP entry into the event, which was basically almost 3 hours of mingling with some of the celebrities in the space world. So that was really exciting. And I just wanted to kind of recap. This is the first time that Tim has ever been able to do one of the Astro Awards in person. He's been doing these awards since 2017, if you can believe it. And this is the first time that he's been able to hold one in person. It was actually held at the Paramount Theater. And maybe I can get some other B-roll in here so you're not just bored looking at me. But I was able to give one of my tickets to Joe Tagmeyer, who I think thoroughly enjoyed it as well. But let me add.
I brought mics too.
Here. And so here's the entryway. You can take your photo in front of the Astro Awards backdrop here. And this was held at the Paramount Theater. So I guess last minute they had to have a venue change. I want to know in the comments, how many of you guys were watching this live? Let me know if you guys were watching it. There's me looking dorky as ever. And that was my representation of how cold it was, because it's crazy cold. But yeah, I really have to congratulate Tim. It is incredible that he was able to not only put such a great award show together. He had actual awards, but he got some really big names in the house. I mean, you had the VP of launches from SpaceX. You had, people from NASA and various missions on stage to accept the awards. So that was just incredible. Let me know which interview you guys want to see first here. Like I said, I have Tim Dodd's interview. I have Scott Manley, and they're not edited. So if we sound silly or I ask a stupid question, this is hot off the press. So I will be releasing the edited video tomorrow. I also ran into Joe with Answers with Joe. I've been watching his channel for a long time, and I was surprised to know that he has seen my channel. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I also ran into Mike Mongo, who is training to go to space. He said some very nice things that I'm on a great trajectory with my own channel, that I have a lot of momentum right now. And that meant a lot to hear. So we have Solid 7 podcast. Thanks for checking in. You guys were watching on your way back from touring the Blue Origin facility at the Cape. I've been on that tour. I want to know what you guys thought of that. Yes, Joe is cool. So let's start with the man of the hour, the reason why this whole award show happened in the first place. So let's watch the Tim Dodd interview.
Hey, fantastic. How are you?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you exhausted?
Oh yeah. Hi there. Yes, honestly, yeah. Quite exhausted, but there's been a huge team of people that have helped out, and I mean, huge. Like literally, I think there's like 25 or 30 volunteers here today, and people that have been working on this for months and months and months. So it's
you've been doing Astro Awards for a couple of years now online, right?
Yeah, since 2017.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So what is it like to have it in person for the first time?
Surreal, scary. It's anything like this for the first time is like, is this gonna work? What did we forget? What did we do wrong? What could we do better? All these things are going through my head, and just even the live stream and the show aspect. I'm still working on that stuff till 2 a.m. the other night, and last night after we were wrapping up, I was still working on stuff. Like it's the first year is scary because you just don't know. And the hard thing is it's hard to communicate with people what we're actually doing and what we're trying to do. I still have comments of like, how cool it'd be if you invited the people behind these missions to get an award. I'm like, that's what we're doing. That is literally what we're doing. So it's been really hard to get that message across. And I think having our first year out, having people see that this is what we're doing, and we're bringing all these people in the same room together to celebrate and cheer and be excited for space flight, for space science, and actually like mingle and have fun together. Once people see it, they'll go, oh, that's what he's doing, And I've wanted to do this because, we have video game awards, we have cell phone awards, we have car awards, we have obviously movies and music.
Right.
Why not space flight?
Right.
And space science. Like, there's so many incredible things to me that are even more worth celebrating and more worth, actually important, really, truly important. So, it's so fun to actually see it come together.
It must be crazy. I mean, you're an inspiration to me. I have a YouTube channel as well, and I have a fraction of what you've built. Is this crazy that it all started with an orange spacesuit, and now it's?
Yeah, I would have never in a million years imagined. My parents were running around somewhere, and I think they're just laughing, like just like, how is this?
Right.
What's happened with this? Because when I first stopped doing photography, I think they thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
And now they're just like, I think they're just beside themselves. They were smiling all last night, so that was really fun to see them. And yeah.
And when I quit news, some people were like, "Are you sure you want to leave the news business?" Yeah. What is the difference in your community from maybe the first year to now?
I mean, it's obviously grown, but what's fun is it's just become so much more mainstream. But there's so many more people, a lot of that's just the popularization, the frequency of this stuff. There's just so much more to see and witness and experience, and launches every 3 days and stuff like that. It's just more attainable for the average person. So I would say just in general, the whole cake and pie and pizza has grown so that it's just easier to find the audience, find the community, and it's fun to try to bring them all together and actually have people hang out.
I also feel like this award show wouldn't have been possible a decade ago, maybe without the privatization of space.
Oh, no way. I mean, I would have loved to do it back then, but we would have droughts of 5 months with no launches and stuff, or years without a big milestone, and so to have that constantly, we're already oh my gosh, this year, 2024 is what is potentially going to happen. 2024 is going to be insane. So it's how are we going to pick and how are we going to do this, already? So it's exciting, and I hope that people really enjoy themselves and feel inspired and feel excited about the future.
Well, congratulations. I know this is a lot of work, and it's actually exhausting to interact with this many people, so good for you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. So have fun, enjoy the show, and hopefully I don't mess up too much. So there's interview number 1 with Tim. It was great to see him again. And I can't imagine how exhausted he must really be. I mean, even my mini celebrity status, interacting with just a few people,
it can actually be very draining. When you meet people and they've been watching your channel for a long time, you want to put your best foot forward and have a lot of energy and enthusiasm, but it can be exhausting. And so good job to Tim. It seems like the show went, according to plan. And yeah, I'm glad that we were able to hear our interview. It was so loud in this tiny portion of the theater where the VIP area was. So I was really hoping that those DJI mics worked out, and they did. And Barney has a great question. Tim could use a co-host next time. I was literally thinking about this as I was watching it. Would I do it? Absolutely. In a heartbeat, I would do it. One of the things I thought was interesting is like, some folks were there, including, Joe Scott. And I thought maybe all these people were there to accept awards. But I think that they were just there as big names. I didn't realize that it would be more mission focused on the awards part than actual people. So that was kind of interesting to me. And yes, I would love to co-host if that's an option. Hard to know if it will be, but I think that this event is only going to grow bigger and bigger every year. And it is just such a bummer that it's not the best time to have it in Austin, because we are just getting this crazy cold winter weather. So maybe it'll be better weather next year. But I also ran into a familiar face, Scott Manley. It was so great to see him again. If you guys have been watching my channel for a long time, you know that I had one of my first big interviews with Scott Manley. I flew to San Francisco and actually interviewed him at his house. So that was pretty incredible. Hard to believe that was, I think, 2 years ago now. But anyway, let's hear his interview. Scott, nice to see you.
Nice to see you. How are you?
I, broke my femur and doing well now.
Well, that's a big bone.
It's the longest, strongest in the body. But,
yeah, well, it's in one piece now.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Titanium rod.
Wow, so you're now a cyborg, right?
Right.
Yes.
And I have not had any trouble at the airport, despite what people think.
Oh, that's good to hear. Good to hear.
Yeah. So I wanted to know, this is incredible to have an in-person Astro Awards show. What do you think about, this probably wouldn't have been possible even a couple of years ago.
Well, there was medical reasons why people weren't doing it 2 years ago. But yes, I think it was one of these things that started online, and Tim just decided that he wanted to do it in person, and damn the horses, we're going for it.
Yeah.
It's damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead, right?
Yeah.
Great quote from the Revolutionary or the Civil War, right? Anyway.
You've seen like the growth of the internet and just the space community online, and now translating that to space nerds getting together in person and celebrating the achievements.
And dancing.
Yeah.
We caught them dancing last night, and I was so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that there's an enthusiasm there. And the great thing was, I was at breakfast today, and I don't recall who it was, but my wife was talking to somebody else. She's like, well, I'm not a space expert. I don't know, engineering. I do space art, but I'm part of this community. And I think you've got to understand that being a space fan doesn't mean that you're a rocket scientist. It just means you love space.
Yes.
And we're not gatekeepers here. We're not going to tell you that you don't understand, and so you shouldn't be here. No, we just want you to come and love and embrace this whole vision of humanity in orbit and beyond.
Do you think that the rise of the private space industry has helped more, general public get involved?
I think it's just meant that there's more rockets, more people that know people involved, and maybe more explodey rockets, which gets people interested. Yeah. I mean, I know, sometimes, your best contribution to the world is to be an example to others. Yeah. Not naming names. But yeah, I think that it just expands out, and there's a lot of people with crazy ideas that are right on the limits of what's possible. And so because they're not sort of conservative and long timelines like the official NASA stuff, that tends to inspire people more, whether they're successful or not.
Yeah. When I interviewed you at your house, I guess that was over 2 years?
Yeah,
two
that
years
was
ago
wow.
now?
I think so, yeah.
Crazy. We were talking about how wild it will be to see the chopsticks in action, and we still
Still
have not
waiting.
seen that.
I mean, we've seen them moving and making noises.
Right.
There's some sounds, right?
But we've had 2 flights since
Yeah.
that interview. So
Yeah.
what do you think about 2024 predictions for Starship?
Ooh, well, IFT3 will come sooner than we expect, I think, because really it's going to come down to demonstrating that the problems were understood. It looks like IFT3 is going to do a bunch of things that are beyond a simple suborbital trajectory. So they're going to be pushing out the envelope on Starship there. Now, the question is, when will they try to start landing things on the chopsticks? Well, again, whenever they do, excitement is going to be guaranteed, right? And having 2 towers means that they can perhaps push up that cadence a little more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, you still haven't been down to Starbase?
I have not. I have an incredibly busy life. This is the closest I've been in a long time, and I still don't have time.
Wow. But you're in Texas.
I know I'm in Texas, and apparently a bunch of people are having flights cancelled because we're going to have freezing rain tomorrow morning.
Oh my gosh.
But my flight's tomorrow night, so if I get stuck, if I find tonight that my flight is cancelled, I might just rent a car and drive down, which will probably be suicidal since they're talking about freezing rain, and Texas I don't think knows about icy roads.
No.
Oh, but it's just there.
How is your pilot life going?
Oh, I just bought a plane. It's awesome. It's a little all composite, carbon fiberglass. 300 kilogram Slovak-built light sport aircraft. It climbs like a bat out of hell compared to the Cirrus. I am so excited to have something that I can look at and own and take wherever I want, as long as it's not into clouds. But I'm going to get the instrument rating soon enough.
I still need to take your advice of taking a flight lesson because turbulence still bothers me.
Oh, yeah, turbulence. Well, the thing about turbulence is don't worry about maintaining altitude, just maintain your attitude rather than altitude, and you'll be fine, right? The turbulence tends to get less of a problem once you're coming in for landing, so unless you're landing at my field, but don't land at my field because it's crazy. No, you should absolutely get out there. We love having more people flying. Yeah.
Seems counterintuitive, but it might help me to understand what's going on.
Seriously. If you can understand rocket science and you're clearly learning it, you can understand aviation, right?
Yeah. Can you give lessons yet?
I can't give lessons, but I can take people up for flights. And,
okay.
I mean, I can tell you how to fly. I can't legally log anything I teach you as a flight time. That's all.
Okay.
I can give you the stick, and I'll be there making sure you don't crash the plane. But
God.
It's not a lesson.
So maybe someday.
Maybe someday if you're in the area. I'll take you flying over Skywalker Ranch, right, and the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh my gosh. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Scott. It was great to see you.
No problem. Fly safe.
Thank you. Okay, so he has committed to giving me a flyover. So next time I'm in the Bay Area, I am definitely going to try and make that happen. And I don't know if I'm the only one who gets a little anxious on planes. I know you guys think it's ridiculous, but it might actually help me to take a sort of flight lesson with Scott Manley to see what exactly is going on. Anthony, thank you for the super chat. Can you slip into Polaris Dawn for interviews? Do you mean, am I able to get in contact with the crew and do interviews? That would be lovely. I know that I contacted Jared Isaacman a while ago about an interview, and I was able to interview Kid Poteet. So potentially there's a way that we can do something in person, if that is what you're talking about. But yeah, so that was Solid 7 Podcast says we absolutely need a video of you going flying with Scott. Yeah, I think I would trust Scott to take me on a little flyover. So hopefully I'm able to do that. We have one more video in the interviews that I did. And this is someone who actually lives in Dallas. So about 3.5 hours from me here in Texas. Texas is huge. Let's hear from this familiar face.
Fix my winch.
Okay. All right. So, Joe,
I'm awkward on camera. How do you do this? What do I do with my hands? Sorry.
you get your swivel chair and you get the little
Oh yeah, I gotta do my
drums.
spin in. Hey, how's it going?
What does it mean for you to be here?
Honestly, I'm mostly here to support Tim. I mean, obviously, I'm not in the right room because everybody here is way smarter than me. Everybody that I talk to is like an engineer. They're working on some, massive technology or something, and I'm just like, I make fart jokes on YouTube. So, but no, I'm like, I was watching him play his show last night. I'm just so proud of Tim and like the community he's been able to build. It's just awesome.
Right. It's we're both YouTubers, and to see what he's been able to do with his channel, just to put on an event like this and have a community as big as he has, it's really amazing what you can do on the internet.
I mean, I've got a sizable channel, but I don't have the kind of community that he does. It's like I cover all kinds of different topics, but he covers this one topic very, very detailed and very thorough, and it's something that people are really passionate about, and the energy in the room is great. So, love me some Tim, and I'm so glad he got to do this.
Yeah. Are you accepting an award?
I don't think so.
You're not? Okay. Because I thought I saw you had a confirmed thing that he posted, right?
I think this is showing that I was here.
Okay, that was my dumb blonde moment. Tim has been posting who was going to be at the Astro Awards with these really nicely done graphics, and for some reason I thought that it meant that everyone who was confirmed to go was accepting an award. So my bad. We'll keep going with the interview, but I do want to say thank you for the super chat and the explanation, Anthony. He wants to know, would I go on the Crew 7 capable Dragon for interviews in space? Maybe more than I want. Understood if it's too much. If I could absolutely go on a Dragon, I would. I would love that. I think that's what you mean, but let's keep with this this interview. It's pretty funny. Okay, because you're an influencer.
I'm so influential.
You're a celebrity.
Everybody's here for me.
Talk about your interest just in space, and I mean, what a crazy time it's been for the space industry. This year will be no exception.
God, where to even start? I mean, look, so Vulcan just went up last week, and then last night we're at the Vulcan Gas Company, which was kind of interesting, little synthesis there, but that was exciting for me because of the whole Methalox thing. I've been following that, and it's like everybody's been pushing that direction, and finally to see one go up from the United States, and it was ULA that did it, that was pretty cool. So seeing that happen is great, seeing all the reusability that's happening. It was just this holy grail for the longest time to actually have a fully reusable vehicle, and we're getting there with them and Stoke. I was talking to those guys earlier. Some really cool innovation stuff going on, and it's kind of hard to even keep up with.
Yeah, it's crazy to see.
I'll never run out of stuff to talk about, neither will you.
No, it's too much to keep up with, especially for one person. It's crazy to see the amount of faces that I recognize in one room.
Yeah. I wish I recognized more of them because anyway, I've been kind of awkward today.
It's okay. What is your most popular space-related video?
Oh, wow.
I know, I should have looked it up.
Yeah, I have to think about this one. Space-related video. I don't know. I mean, actually, the one I just released last week was about what the world will be like in 2100. And so obviously there's a lot of space stuff in that, talking about space stations and lunar bases and stuff like that. God, that's a good question. I gotta think about that one. Most of my really high-performing videos are really dark and severed heads and torture and stuff. That's not my fault. People are weird.
And so when you make a video that you released about what will our world look like in 2100, how many people are helping you with that video?
Oh, my team?
Yeah, you're not writing the whole thing, you're not editing the whole thing.
No, I've got 8 people I'm working with right now on my team. Yeah. I got 2 editors, 4 writers, 2 producers, assistants. I don't know what that adds up to.
So I need to get a writer, a producer.
When it's time.
Yeah.
When it's time. Well, I mean, we were talking about it a second ago. I don't know if you want this on camera, but no, I fully. Bringing an editor on at first just frees up so much more of your time to be able to, like I said, focus on bigger picture things and focus on, traveling, and it just. Also, here's another thing: having somebody else that's working with you, it kind of is an accountability partner.
Right.
Yes. It kind of keeps you focused.
Yeah.
And they can call you out on your BS.
Yeah.
And it takes away your excuses. And also you just become close friends. And oh, here's the best. Oh, you got me started. Okay, here's the best thing about having an editor is you get to watch your videos like an audience member.
Right.
Because if you're cutting it together, you're in it, you're like putting it all you see is the mistakes, and then you miss a lot of things because you're focusing on whatever. He'll send me an edit, and he's thrown in jokes that I didn't even think of, and references and stuff. And I get to like watch it and actually laugh like an audience member,
right,
and experience it from that perspective. And sometimes because of that, I get to catch things that maybe he didn't see because he was in it, you know.
Right.
So that's been one of the most unexpected benefits of it.
Well, and I'm sure you can remember back to when you were just on your own. It can be kind of isolating and surprisingly lonely.
Yeah.
Like it's surprising.
You know what? You nailed it. I mean, YouTubing is a very weird job. Yes. It's a very weird job. None of my personal friends that I had before I did this know anything about it. So I get with them, and just like everything else, you talk about your job and stuff, and they just kind of glaze over, like, what are you talking about? So like going to YouTube events and getting to meet other people that do it, it's more than just fun. It's actually important.
Yeah.
It's like for your own mental health and just to be able to talk to people about the things that you do.
When did you go full time?
2018, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been 6 years now.
I went full time about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. So I'm on that trajectory.
That is a huge win just to be able to do it full time.
Yes, leaving TV news behind.
Yeah.
Totally fine with that. It's very depressing.
I did newspaper. I went from a newspaper to doing this.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Very cool.
And newspapers are doing really great. I don't know if you've heard.
Same with radio stations and TV stations. And
there were layoffs every 6 months.
Yeah.
For like I was there for 12 years, so it was like the last 5 years I was there. And then, I'm not gloating too much on camera here, but no, literally 6 months after I left, they canned my entire department.
Wow.
So I took a pay cut. I didn't go straight from doing that to YouTube full time. I kind of worked part time for a guy that does. He like runs YouTube channels for brands. Like I did HP's channels, some of them. I like managed them and uploaded their stuff and did all that. And I learned a ton doing that. But anyway, so it was like a sort of an intermediary step there. But I took a huge pay cut to do that, but it's worked out. And if I hadn't done that, I would have been laid off 6 months later.
I feel like with, our robotic future, our AI future, this idea of like an abundance of, your time, more people will be able to be creators if they want to. Do you agree with that?
I don't know.
Once we have, Tesla bots roaming around and replacing boring menial tasks.
I don't know. So this may sound negative. My experience is that we fill that extra time with more stuff, and we're not always good about that.
Yeah.
And being prioritizing and stuff. I like to think that having more automation and robotics and stuff is freeing us up, but we're probably just going to fill it with more garbage. That's so negative. Oh my god.
And he's walked off camera. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
I'm just glad to meet you.
Yeah, it's been great to meet you. I didn't know that you knew about my work, so that's very.
Yeah.
I'm honored. That means I've done something right.
You've done a lot of things.
If I've
right.
reached you on the internet.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Sweet. Well, there's me being awkward turtle meeting other, celebrities on the internet. This parasocial relationship is so weird. And it was weird to see so many familiar faces. Now, granted, I've met a lot of those faces at this point, but all in this very tight space. It was like, oh, there's Scott Manley, and there's Joe Scott, and there's Joe Tegmeyer, and so on and so forth. So that was pretty cool. And I like this prediction from Jim Laz. Ellie is going to have 100,000 subs by IFT3, which IFT3, according to the SpaceX John Edwards, should be in a few weeks. No earlier than February, but should be coming pretty soon. So that would be very optimistic. I would love to make that happen. So you guys can help me make that happen by sharing the channel and encouraging people to subscribe. Wow. So I'm reading some of the comments. I'm glad that you guys enjoyed my interview style. Those are just 3 of the interviews that I got there, and I will make a fully edited video of this. Joe Tegmeyer was able to get some drone footage over the Paramount Theater, and there was actually a Cybertruck there when we first got there. So I will be making a video about this. Thank you, Slower Cuber, for the super chat. My interviews rock. I try to get interesting interviews for you guys. That is my skill. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a scientist, and I would never pretend to be. I am a journalist, and I know how to ask questions incessantly. That is my skill. In explain it to me like I'm 5. I know how to ask questions and continue to ask questions. Definitely more comfortable with the microphone on you than on me, but I am learning to answer questions extemporaneously a little bit better. But thank you guys for watching these interviews. Again, the Astro Awards was very fun. It was great to be part of the VIP section. And Tim is really funny. Aside from being, talented on YouTube, and he's obviously good at photography and music, as many of you learned last night, he's very funny. And, if he needs a co-host, that's also kind of funny. I have done stand-up comedy. For next year, he should reach out to me. But watching him just kind of ad-lib on stage, and it really inspired me to kind of loosen up a little bit with you guys and make jokes if I want to make jokes. But thank you for, watching. You guys enjoyed my coverage. This is just some of the coverage, but it was great that we were able to hear people, because it was so loud in there. It's so loud, and it's so cold in Austin. It's unbelievable. Nice set. Someone has watched my Kill Tony episode with the reference there. So yeah, someone else also asked earlier in the chat what's going on with my 0G flight. As many of you know, I entered a contest to win a 0G flight. This is like a $15,000 ticket normally, and I won, but the flight has been delayed twice. That flight should be going, fingers crossed, next month in February out of Orlando. So I should be able to enjoy experiencing weightlessness, hopefully not feel sick, in Orlando next month. So I'm very much looking forward to that. But I have been traveling nonstop. I wanted to do a live stream recapping my trip to New York City. I did so many things while I was there. It's unbelievable. And I've been so busy, I haven't even been able to do that. So apologies. I should be in town for the next few weeks. But part of the issue is I'm now moving into a house. Right now I'm in an apartment. So I'm very much looking forward to that. But that will be what I'm going to be working on for the next few weeks, which is unpacking, getting a new setup going. And in the meantime, and I'm probably going to get off here soon to do this, because I have to take off all of these panels. There's panels in the front here. So I have to get moving. But thank you guys so much for watching my sort of recap here. I hope that you enjoyed it. And we are in for an amazing 2024. I love that the space community is growing, and the Astro Awards was a great example of this. And Tim made a great point saying, we have awards for movies and, singers and all sorts of categories, cars, phones, whatever, you name it. But we need a dedicated award show for space, because that is the thing that is skyrocketing right now. And so I'm really glad that he was able to put that together, and hopefully you guys can make it next year. I think it will be more attended. And thank you guys so much for watching my live stream, and I will see you soon.